only 6 months. It's the 6 month anniversary today since I got the liver.
So we're not talking. This is a really raw reflection on how your life was almost ending.
To be thinking along the lines of, I mean, have a daddy was really hard to take. I mean, Paula is an amazing, incredibly strong person. Of course, it would be horrendous for her, but she'd dig deep and find a way out of it. Max losing his daddy would be, for me, was just uncomprehendable. But that gave me the strength and the determination to. But you're 100% right. There are times where all those feelings come back at one time, and they do hit you, and you do think, "Oh shit, what the hell's just happened?" You know, coming that close, and losing your wife and your son and stuff. But I suppose as time goes on, that'll maybe go away.
Jonny, thanks very much for agreeing to come on the podcast today. I really appreciate it, and I'm intrigued to learn your story. I only know a little bit about it, and that's deliberate because I want to be a listener, because I know how close your life became to the point where you would actually no longer be here.
For sure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Jonny, the condition that you developed or you were born with, and we'll take it on there.
Yeah, sure. So the path that led to where I am now began probably when I was about 18. I noticed, some strange things going on in my bowels, which just wasn't quite right, and it ended up being Crohn's disease. Right. I also thought it was maybe ulcerative colitis as well. They couldn't quite make up their mind, which again I lived with for a couple of years. I was on high dosage of steroids, prednisolone steroids, which are anti-inflammatories, which kind of made it okay, lived my life fine, but it was progressively getting worse to the point where I had to get emergency surgery when I was in my early 20s. Which led to a 3-month stay in Gartnavel. Right, okay. What was the surgery for? So I had to get a colostomy bag. Right, okay. So they took out my full bowel, I had a colostomy bag, which thankfully got reversed a couple of years later. Right. But I got so ill with it at the time. I would be in hospital for about 3 months. I was down to about 7.5 stone at that point as well. I had to get fed through my neck for 2 months. With something called TPN. What age were you then? I was only in my early 20s. Yeah. So that was already a big hurdle before I even got to where I am now. So that was a pretty horrendous time, and I had to really dig deep throughout that to try and get back to where I was, losing all that weight, to getting it back on, getting back to work and stuff. So being in your early 20s as a single man with a colostomy bag wasn't much fun either. No, I was just going to say that. What a traumatic experience to have to go through in your early 20s when basically the best years of your 100%. Life was just about to progress. Absolutely, but back then as well, there was still quite a stigma with them. Nobody really spoke about them. Then whereas now I think it's widely spoken about. But that essentially led to me getting autoimmune hepatitis after that. Again, it's a fairly unknown kind of rare disease. It affects your autoimmune system, your immune system, and how it reacts to different things. My body is constantly trying to fight itself with autoimmune. Right, okay. So, but it was manageable. I went on for many, many years. I met my wife 14 years ago, and it was fine. Maybe twice a year, maybe once a year, get ill, end up in hospital. Fairly simple, of getting some antibiotics, back out, living life. We had a very great life, 100 miles per hour with gym, got holidays, socialising. That's before the wee man was born. He's 5 now. Then I was getting quite ill, ended up in hospital again, and at the time I was told that I had PSC. Didn't have a clue what it was about. And at that time I was still quite fit. So you basically managed and dealt with your previous health experience. So we kind of thought, what's PSC? What's that all about? Never heard of it. It's a hell of a rare disease. I think it's like 1 in 7,000. I've got it, and combine it with autoimmune and stuff I had before. The odds of getting this were mental. So there's no connection between them? No, not really. I think when you got autoimmune diseases, you're more susceptible to getting things. So I got told about it, and to be honest, I didn't really probe too much about it because I was quite fit and healthy. I knew it was called primary sclerosing cholangitis, which is a bit of a mouthful. And it's a disease that attacks the ducts that go into the liver. Right, okay. So non-alcohol related, nothing like that. Purely bad luck. But again, at the time, fine. In and out of hospital now and again, which I'm used to. And the wife got used to that, and it was just part of our lives. Going to the gym all the time, working, going out, it was absolutely fine. And it wasn't until probably the tail end of last year, 2022, that I really noticed something wasn't quite right. My sleeping patterns were not great. My hospital visits were starting to get a bit more. And And yeah, it was kind of around March time. I thought, let's book a holiday. It's going to be fine. I'm just tired with work. And
March this year?
Yeah.
Just 8 months ago?
Yeah, so I'm just tired with work. Go to the gym. The wee man was 4 at the time, and he's a daddy's boy, so me and him are always mucking about. Yeah. And book a holiday, be great. At the end of the week, no, I'm still not feeling well, and actually ended up in hospital not long after that, kind of April time. I was in for 3 weeks in the Queen Elizabeth. Right. And my consultant, Dr. Priest, great guy. I've been with him just as long as I have my wife. Yeah. He's a great guy.
Part of your life as well.
For sure, yeah. He knows me inside out, literally. And his advice over the years was fantastic. And I was in for three weeks, and at the very end of that, that's when they said, you've got this end-stage liver disease now. That's it, gone. Jesus. You have to go on the transplant list. And Paula and I, we're just gutted. We knew it may become one day, but you're thinking retirement. You're thinking you're getting the best years of your life out the way. The wee man only being 4 and stuff. And
there was no build up to this, Jonny. It was just like getting hit by a truck like that.
The funny thing is, even going in April, I felt rubbish. And I remember sitting and going to Gartnavel for my appointment with Dr. Priest, and it was him that admitted me. Because he took one look at me and he just thought, this ain't you, because you're usually so motivated, you're so resilient, and despite all the challenges you've had, you've got an amazing way of just getting on with it, which I do, especially with the wee man and my wife, and I don't show when my weaknesses. I just get on with it. Even when people are saying, how are you doing? I'm fine, and inside you're dying, it's literally at this point. It's so when he told us at the end of the 3 weeks, it was interesting, because when you go on the list, you actually have to go for assessment. So it's not just a case you're on the list, actually, boom. Yeah. So, you really have to be very ill to go on the list. I think when we're looking at some of the stats online, they've only done about 65 transplants in Scotland.
Really?
Liver transplants in the previous year. It's that rare. Yeah. You have to be, pretty much going one way. So we went for the assessment September. You're in for 5 days. It's pretty rigorous. You're doing on the bike, doing exercises. The surgeons come and speak to you and tell you about how bad the operation can be. It's 10 to 12 hours. There's a big chance that things can go wrong, and even more so for me because my previous surgeries and the autoimmune. The minute said there's someone with your stuff, maybe going to be over 1 in 5 chance you're going to cop it on the table. So the odds are against you.
So even if you get the heroic news that there's a match, actually you're only kind of 10-20% there.
Yeah. Getting a match, great, but you've got such a huge struggle of getting through the operation. And the challenge for me, which we'll come on to, was how well I got before it. Your body needs to be in a good state for the surgery to take it on, to take a foreign body into your body. And the way in which I went, which we'll come on to, was not the way it should have been planned. So I got on the list, which was difficult because I don't think they were going to put me on it. But I always remember my consultant, Dr. Priest, saying when they had the team's call about me, he was really pushing it, saying, I know this guy inside out, he ain't right. He's not himself. I've known him for 12 years.
Was there a discrepancy there? Did they not think you were ill enough for it?
Absolutely. So the strange thing about getting on the list is you really need to be in death's door before you get on it. Which is strange because you think, if I'm that ill, I need help now. Yeah. It's not the case. So I was going through maybe once a month, having a chat. I'm really ill, been in hospital again, and it's just not going well. My bloods aren't great, and there was still just, that'd be it. Okay, on you go. We'll see you soon. Yeah. So it's quite hard to get your head around that. When you're ill, the expectations are you're going to get fixed. But the guys are amazing at their job. They're really phenomenal at their job. It's all about timing, and everything kind of worked well for me timing wise. So I got accepted on the list anyway. October 2022 it would have been. Yep. October 2022 last year. Yeah. The way they sell it is interesting. It's we have to have a bag packed in the car because you get a phone call anytime. You just need to, usually through the night, believe it or not, don't know why. You have to literally jump in the motor, on you go, put the wee man at somebody's house, one of your pals or something. We're quite fortunate. I'm from Inverness, so my family in Inverness, my dad's Fife, Paul's family Fort William, so I've not really got anybody there just to knock the door and dump. But our neighbours, kind of Derek and Gemma and that were just incredible. They were always a really good support. And they were there for us. So our vision was great. Going to get a call, going to get a match. Boom, on you go. That's the way it's going to be. Couldn't have been any different, really. Literally from the moment I was told I was going on the list, I remember my consultant saying to me, you're going to get a lot worse before you get better. Again, we take that with a pinch of salt because I was still okay at the time. I was still going to the gym, working full time, running about the wee man, doing everything you do as a dad. But he was certainly on the money with that one. You know, literally week by week, month by month, the deterioration was quite frightening. Right. I've got a really interesting kind of graph on my phone. It takes my steps per month. So from January 2023 to when I got to May to when I got my transplant, and the trajectory is frightening. Literally to the May where there's nothing.
Nothing. It's just.
So it just shows you if I didn't get that transplant.
Yeah, just how weak you had become with the illness taking
absolutely,
over. But tell us about the journey there. Tell us a bit about like how did that affect you and Paula as a married couple, and then obviously with a 4-year-old son at that point.
Yeah, Max.
I take it he would have been too young. He would have seen his dad wasn't maybe quite right. Did you just shield that from him as much as possible?
No, absolutely not. So with regards to Max, we made a conscious decision to tell him. Right, okay, interesting. Daddy's getting a new liver. Yeah. You know, this is what's going to happen. Me, personally, I tried to hide as much as I possibly could. I would still get up in the morning, you know, dust myself down, take him to nursery and show no weakness. Mm-hmm. You know, I'd still try and run about with him. Mm-hmm. But as the months got on and as I got iller, you know, twice a week at least I'd get these what were called cholangitis attacks, which were just, as time went on, just got worse and worse and worse. You know, it'd always be through the night, which was great because the wee man wouldn't see them. Yeah. You know, but you know, they'll give you the shakes, disorientation, you feel sick. It was just the most horrendous thing to go through, and they'd wipe you out for days. I mean, already the fatigue was crippling. When people say they're tired, and they're tired, but when people say, you know, crippling fatigue, it's just a completely different thing.
Zero energy whatsoever.
I mean, to the point I'd take the wee man to the nursery, come back in bed for 3 or 4 hours, which is just not me. Yeah. I'm the complete opposite, 100 miles per hour. So to go from that kind of lifestyle to that was really, really, really challenging to get my head around. And so, yeah, we made the constitution with Max to tell him quite early. Of course, at that age, they're quite flippant about it. Yeah. You know, so I didn't realise the seriousness of it.
But to have that conversation, like from your point of view and from your wife's point of view, I mean, I'm just imagining as you're speaking, I'm imagining going through that same conversation, and it must have been heartbreaking to, even though you're trying to kind of make it not sound as serious what it was to Max, like having these words come out your mouth. Yeah. Telling your 4-year-old son that dad needs a new liver.
Definitely.
It was tough.
It was horrendous, yeah. It was horrendous because, you know, Paul and the wee man are my life, especially Max. You know, it's to be thinking along the lines of, you might not have a daddy, it was really hard to take. I mean, Paul is an amazing, incredibly strong person. Of course, it would be horrendous for her, but she'd dig deep and find a way out of it. Yeah. Max losing his daddy would be, for me, was just uncomprehendable. Yeah. But that gave me the strength and the determination to keep going. Keep fighting. And you talk about Paul and the way we dealt with it. It made us just stronger. Yeah, it really did. I mean, it could break a lot of people because through the night when I was so ill, Paul would just be by my side.
I know, I read that one.
Through the night.
And honestly, she'd say that. So, I don't know if I touched it at the start. So Johnny's wife, Paula, reached out online on Instagram and I don't know your wife, never met her. And she was like, my husband has been through this. I don't know if he'll want to speak about it, but here's some information. If you think that you would like him on the podcast, then let me know. But just a warning, have a box of tissues. And I tell you, she wasn't lying. Like, I'm a joiner to trade. I have my own wee business, and I was sitting there, luckily just myself, one lunchtime only a couple of days ago, and I was reading it on my phone. And I'm not going to lie, there was tears coming down my face. I never had any tissues because I thought I'll not need them. But I did, because the way that you described your journey, and the part that you just touched on there was when things got really bad. Yeah. Paula just cuddled you into her side, stroking your arms and your hands like she would a baby, and you were just so weak.
Prior to all of this, I mean, I think Paula only ever seen me emotional once in about 12 years when my wee dog died, funnily enough, years ago. But this was getting the better of me. I was crumbling. You know, I was being strong in the right places in front of people that didn't want to show weakness to. Typical guy.
Did you ever think that you just weren't going to be able to keep strong enough to fight it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but there's so many emotions going through your head as well, because the biggest one for me was guilt. Yeah. I just felt so guilty that I was putting Paula through this, the wee man, my mum and dad, you know, even just I've got an amazing niece and nephew up in Inverness, even they were 12, 13 at the time. Even not getting to see them and having to stay away from all my family. And I get up to the point where I became quite closed. I really only let a certain amount of people see me because I was getting that yellow jaundice way. I was getting the pot belly. I was really, yellow eyes. I was really starting to look quite bad. But the overriding emotion for me was guilt. But yeah, there was a few times that it was getting that bad, where more so in hospital towards the end, which we'll come on to. But I was thinking, this is going to be, I'm really going to have to find something to get through this, And as the time goes on, these attacks were more regular. And we talk about timing. I only waited 7 months for my transplant, which for someone my age is quite good. It can be generally years, which I couldn't imagine how that must be awful for people to wait that long. But the prior to the day we get admitted through to Edinburgh, because Edinburgh's the only transplant clinic in Scotland, you don't do it in Glasgow. It was just a routine appointment. And the night before, I was fainting, I was being sick, I was coming out always, and it was just horrendous. And my worst throughout this, Paula had to dress me and stuff. I was that weak, so from going, as I say, from my life of going to the gym and stuff, to get to that point of where somebody's having to dress me and stuff, it was pretty harrowing.
Were you ever given a prognosis at that time? Did they ever say, look, if we don't get a transplant in this amount of time, then we're really going to be struggling?
No, but that came.
That came, did it?
That came, yeah. At that point, the funny things with the clinic visits, when you go through to see the guys, they see you for a 5-10 minute window. So you tell them, oh, I'm so ill, and they know you've been in hospital because they can see your notes. They maybe spoke to your consultant. My bloods for me, actually, despite being so ill, were actually okay, and a lot is judged on your bloods. All your different kind of liver levels, your LFTs, your bilirubin, which is how yellow you go and stuff. And mine were bad, not good, but they're nowhere near as bad as some people. So when they look at that, and they see you still looking okay-ish, because I didn't go as bad as some people. That they just get them. That's when they pack you away, and it's like, the call will come when the call comes, kind of thing. And that's not them being cruel. As I say, the guys were just incredible what they do, and I couldn't thank them enough. But it's just the way it is. And as I say, the night before this clinic appointment, I was fainting in and out of consciousness, and just in a really bad way. In the morning, I said to Paula, I can't make it through there, I just need to go back to my bed. And she literally huckered me up and threw me in the car with a duvet and a sick bag, carrier bag, and we made the journey through, and I was constantly sick on the way through. And when I got there, we got to the clinic, and one of the head kind of surgeons, doctors, Dr. Blair was there, but she never usually there. She kind of runs the show. She see me, kind of took one look at me, and didn't even go to the appointment. Had me on a wee... doing my bobs, my blood pressure, had me in a wee bed, and she said, right, upstairs straight away into the liver ward. And then I got up there, and it was straight into high dependency. I didn't even get onto the ward, straight into high dependency, which that's you thinking, that's starting to really kick in now. And I think that needed to happen. That the 3 weeks prior to me getting the transplant were probably the most difficult 3 weeks I've ever had in my life. Because it really started to go downhill, in and out of high dependency a few times. Just it was such a difficult situation, because you've got the wee man wasn't allowed in the ward either because of the infections, and everybody in that ward is in really bad way. They've either just had their transplants, or they're in that bad a condition they're trying to wait for one. So not getting to see him as much as I could. And obviously Paula having to work full time, look after the wee man, come through. She was just incredible again at managing that, and that was a side of her that I'd never seen before. She was just in a crisis. She just goes into
just so strong, just so focused on looking after her family.
Unreal. It didn't hit her until we got home after the transplant, and once I got home, the dust settled, and I think that's when it really kind of hit her. And she was like, shit.
And she was just in survival mode as well.
100%. Yeah, and I think that kind of hit her, and she was like, shit. And that's when she started breaking down a wee bit. And whereas I was opposite, when I came out, and that's me, I was motivated, I was determined to get out of the situation. But the 3 weeks prior to it were absolutely horrendous. And before that, I got the intravenous feed, I got the tube up my nose because my body wasn't capable of creating its own carbs and protein and stuff, and that was horrendous to deal with. And it was just you're just in this situation where you're slowly dying, and with PSC, it's a disease that no matter how hard you try, lifestyle choices, mindset, it's only ever going to go one way. There's nothing you can do. And for me, that's frustrating, because I'm always quite a strong, focused person. So to be in a position where you can't control it was alien, and really quite difficult to manage.
There must have been so many long nights, just you and your thoughts in hospital.
100%, because the sleeping pattern when I was at home, and obviously being in hospital, was completely changed. I was managing to maybe get a couple hours sleep if I was having these attacks, I was waking up at 4 a.m. anyway, couldn't get back to sleep. So you're running on fumes pretty much every day, and add on top of that the kind of critical fatigue is something you've never ever been geared up for in your life, really. But I think the difficulty thing for me as I go back to the guilt thing. You know, I was in this situation where I couldn't see my son, the amount of stress on my wife, and my mum's up in Inverness, so she couldn't really come down, and my dad's in Fife, so he was coming to visit. It was great, but it was I found that the most difficult to cope with. But it's incredible and humbling about how amazing people are. You know, it's your wife, your family, and even the wee man, despite he didn't know how serious it was. And one day when I managed to get downstairs to see him, he was only 4 and he was on his hands and knees putting my socks on for me and stuff. And
he just had that innate kind of recognition that you needed looked after.
It was tough. And
I mean, we should make it obvious that this was a matter of months ago. Do you know, this was not a long time ago, was it?
I'm only 6 months. So it's my 6 months anniversary today since I got the liver. So
we're not talking, this is a really raw reflection on how your life was almost ending.
100%.
Or it was ending, there's no doubt. But it was literally a few months ago.
Yeah, 100%. And it's my wife used to go home at night time, or the odd occasion I got to see my son. I mean, I used to be in tears in my bed, because it's just like, I want to go home. I want to go back to being a dad again. I want to go back to being a husband again. I'm the protector. Yeah. I'm the man of the house. I should be there for my wife, and I should be there for my son. And the roles were reversed for so long. Yeah. Even prior to being in hospital, my wife was, towards the end, was pretty much my carer.
Yeah, looking after you so much.
Looking after me so much. So that's just, again, completely alien to anything I've ever experienced before. And at the time, you're a 41-year-old man, and you just want a cuddle from your mum and dad.
See those points, Jonny, when you thought that your life was ending. Did you have regrets? Was there anything that you wish that you had done different? Obviously, everything's worked out now, and you will go into how your life is actually to a point you're almost fitter and healthier than what you were beforehand. The fact that you've got the transplant, but at that point, like, people say that when you're lying there and death's chapping at your door is when you reflect on things that you wish you could have done better, or things that you've done that you always kept delaying and procrastinating on.
Yeah, I mean, I'd 100% look at things differently now. There's absolutely no doubt about that. I didn't think I had any regrets or anything, absolutely not. I just needed to stay focused and dig deep and find that determination to make sure that I got the other end, because I couldn't not be there for my son. I could not be there for Paula, and that was my overriding thought was, well, I'm not here for my wee boy. And at that time, he was only 4. I was like, is he going to remember me? Maybe not. I can't remember much when I was 4. Don't know if you can.
No, I can't.
You know, so despite how close we are, and he's like my wee best pal. It's, you know, he's not going to remember me. Of course, there'll be photos and memories and stuff. And Paula and I were very unique. We're so close. I mean, everyone said we're kind of best pals thing. You know, we are that really that close. We do everything together. Always have done. And that, to me, that's really special. So losing that was, these overriding memories, I suppose, were more negative memories. Yeah. More than thinking about the past. It was more thinking about, shit, what's the future for these guys, you know?
Yeah, how are they going to live without you?
Yeah, I almost came to accept that this was maybe going to happen, which was kind of a weird thing. I was that ill as well at times. I thought, I've not got enough to. I was really down to the barrel, scraping to the barrel towards the end. I was
very little fight left.
I've got nothing left, but I managed to find it to keep going. And the nurses as well and the surgeons were incredible. There was 2 occasions there where I got taken off the list. And see, when you're that ill, if you get taken off the list,
you're not going back on it.
You can't recover. A lot of people die on the list. Yeah, okay. And I remember Paula really breaking down, I think, the second time, because she thought...
Do you mean taken off the list because you're too ill?
You won't make it through the surgery. Right, okay. And the second time that happened, I remember Paula breaking down, and obviously I broke down, and we were thinking, well, that's it. And prior to this, when you get put in the list, believe it or not, they tell you need to get your affairs in order, life insurance, all that kind of stuff. So even before that, you're thinking,
you need to make sure.
I'm making sure Paula's okay and the wee man's okay. I'm having chats with my dad to make sure that if I pass away, help her, make sure all the paperwork's done easy. You have these conversations at 40 when you're thinking.
That was exactly my question I was going to ask. What age were you, or what age are you?
Well, I'm 42 in a couple of weeks, in November, so 41. but a very young 41, you know, very active. So even prior to me getting mega ill, you're still having to put all your affairs in order in preparation for what may come. But yeah, it's.
Could you speak about that quite matter of fact? Because I know myself, I wouldn't speak about it to anyone. I would go and do it, but I wouldn't be able to talk about it because I think I'd just be too.
Yeah, I
wouldn't want to face facts. To be honest,
I just done it. I mean, we've got everything set up. It was fine anyway, so there was nothing we really had to, or I had to do above and beyond that. You know, everything would have been fine if I did pass on. But the second, as I say, the second time I got taken off the list weekend, I thought I really need to bounce back here. So. Again, there's only so much determination you can have in a hospital bed.
Yeah, of course.
Because that time, I was having to use a wheelchair to get about. I was getting fed through my nose and machines everywhere. So, you know, you couldn't stay active, and muscles were starting to go away, get skinnier, that kind of stuff. But the nurses and surgeons are absolutely incredible, and the way they kind of help you get through that as well. I mean, these guys are on the liver ward, are trained just for transplants, that kind of stuff.
Okay,
so
that's what they're doing.
That's purely what they do. And I remember one of the surgeons, Chris. It wasn't him that ended up doing the surgery on me, actually, because there's a few of them. I remember he was just such a calming influence. You know, even after that second time when I came off the list, you know, he always found a way to kind of calm me and Paula down and reassure us that we'll kind of get there. And you know, there's some real angels in that place.
Yeah.
And one of the nurses, Chantel, as well. She was, you know, when I was really quite bad and struggling and in tears, which again, something I never do. Yeah. You know, she would come and sit by and they'd hold your hand and speak you through things, and they were just incredible. And it was tough, you know, because as I said, it was in and out high dependency, and again, you're thinking this is not good, it's not going the right way. I remember one time, the second time they took me off the list all day, I was being sick and tub about 10 times, and it was this kind of mad green colour, you know, and you're thinking, right, this is your body just not wanting to play anymore. But I think after that, when I came back at high dependency, the time being in there, as I say, it's all about timing. It had to happen because I don't think they knew how ill I was. I think they knew how ill I was, but until they could physically see it every day,
yeah, of course,
24/7, how much you're struggling, you know, how much you can barely get out of bed, can't change yourself, you're not eating. So I got the tube. You can't eat. I love my food. So for me not to eat is a rarity. You know, so for them to see that, you know, that it came back and reassured me, the way you're going, you're now a priority. Because if we don't make you a priority, we know what's going to happen. Yep. So again, that was a great thing. Did that give you a mental boost? Aye, it did absolutely. Because you're thinking, well, great, hopefully something's going to happen soon. But at the same time, you're thinking, you know, I'm pretty close to the edge here.
Yeah, it may not happen soon enough. There's two people that I can. So transplants have affected two people in my life in two different ways. So. Right. One of my good friends from Mountain Rescue, so he was one of the fittest guys in Mountain Rescue on our team anyway, and gradually was just becoming more and more tired, more and more exhausted, more and more fatigued. And it turns out he had leukemia, and that was the start of his symptoms. So within 6 months, he went so downhill, and he was on death's door. And he ended up getting a bone marrow transplant from a German patient.
Wow.
So he has now bounced back like yourself. So he's maybe like 7 or 8 years post transplant, and he's back, and he's now like almost, I think he's about 47, 48, and he's now back to being the most the fittest, strongest guy on the team, and his outlook in life is just incredible. And then another switch to it is sadly when it was my cousin. So my young cousin Simon was born with a hole in his heart.
Right.
And it was manageable until he was like 18, and he had big open heart surgery. But for whatever happened after that surgery, he was always getting infections and ill and stuff. And he was in hospital in Edinburgh and down in Newcastle. I think it was Freeman's Hospital in Newcastle, waiting on a heart transplant.
Newcastle,
was only
heart and lungs. I think
and this was maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and he was only 26 at that time, and he'd been up to priority. But time ran out when he passed away just a few weeks after that at 26. Just waiting on that call that never came, basically.
It's just the most ridiculous ride, because I remember one day where I really, really struggled was an older boy, Charlie. I say older, I don't think he was that much older, maybe mid-60s or something, pushing 70. I could see him because he was in a room by himself. I was in a room by myself a few times when I got really ill, but I managed to get back in the ward, which was great actually, because there was other people there you could share your story with and kind of bounce you back up when you're feeling rubbish. But I remember Charlie in his room, and he found out a real struggle being in his room by himself because all you're just doing is consuming thoughts. I remember his wife came through and chatted away to me. I actually thought at the time she was maybe like a counsellor or something, but she came through and they just told her at that point, he's past it, they can't get him he's too ill to get a liver. He's palliative care. And I lost it. Because I'm thinking, shit, that's me. I'm going on and off the list. And
plus you formed such a close bond with the fellow patients
100%.
as well,
and when she came through and the two of us were just cuddling, greeting, because I was just looking at her thinking this could be Paula, and she was obviously beyond herself. She got back to lose her husband, and I just couldn't get my head around it. So I thought really hit me. I thought, oh man, this is serious shit, Yeah. Then believe it or not, he actually bounced back.
Did
and
he
got his liver, was it a couple of days before me? And incidentally, he's doing really good. I think he's been in hospital a few times.
He was in palliative care, and
I think he managed to. He just found it from somewhere to think, nah, stuff this. I'm going nowhere, and something. His body's changed. His blood's got a wee bit better, enough to. They thought, well, actually, we reckon might be able to shout to make it through the surgery, and he did, and he was great. He was we were in the ward at the same time, and he got out pretty much the same time as me and stuff.
You still chat, still speak to each other?
Yeah. Paula speaks to them quite a lot, and I came off all social media before it because I don't know, I got so ill that I thought I just need to focus on myself. I don't want to be, and you can get in this really bad way of reading online about liver transplants, and a lot of it can be quite negative stories and people pass away and stuff, and I thought, no, I just need to keep focused and determined what I want to achieve, and not all the shit around me.
Probably you what's his name, sorry?
Big Charlie.
Big Charlie, you must have some conversations now.
Yeah, well, I've not actually properly seen him since. They live in Dalkeith, so
okay.
I'm going to the hospital tomorrow from one of my appointments, my follow-ups, so I really need to go in and chat his door and that, because Paula speaks to them all the time. They probably wouldn't even recognise me now because I was in such a state in the place. You've lost a lot of weight, you're gone and that, so they probably won't recognise me. But yeah, I always remember that conversation before I come through saying to me, that's him, he's done, and it just puts literally the fear of God into you.
Of course. So tell us about when the call came.
So, well, ironically, I was quite lucky. So one of the guys in the ward, Willie, guy about the same age as me, he had 4 or 5 livers come in before he got one.
Right, okay.
So you don't just get a liver and that's you, and great operation. They need to get it in, or to extract it, obviously, from whoever it is, fly it or get it up to the hospital, because they keep it alive. It's a living organ. But I think they've only got about 12 hours or so to keep it alive, so they need to get it to whatever hospital, get it on the machines, get the blood flowing through it, make sure it's okay, make sure it fits. So the first one we got offered, we thought, here we go. Was too big.
Too big?
Too big.
It's just physically
too big. But that's a really big rarity. They couldn't even use it on anybody kind of thing. Okay. It was put in the bin, which they just don't do.
A huge liver?
Yeah, but because I laughed, I was like, I must have been huge. No, they couldn't tell me much about him. Obviously, they're like, no, just a normal guy, just a big liver. I was like, oh, okay. But you know what, we weren't too upset, because a lot of people can get really, really upset thinking, this is not going well, time's ticking here and I'm getting worse. But it kind of put us in good stead, because we thought, okay, we know this is coming. But then the second one came through, and that's when they said to me, they kind of made me a priority. The second one came through, and they were quite confident it was a great match. It was coming from down south, and we thought, that's us. So it was just me and Paula. She came down to the theatre doors. You kind of say your goodbyes, which was pretty awful, because you're thinking, well, easy for me, I'm not going to feel it if I don't wake up.
No, but again, just thinking, worry. And you'd already been told that actually, like, it was a 20% success rate.
No, there's a 1 in 5 chance I wouldn't make it, just on the table alone.
A 1 in 5, so
that I would make it. Then the aftermath of that, there's even bigger chance as well. So I was up against it quite a bit before it even, because I got so ill, but because of my underlying stuff as well. But then you go in and you're got the needles in to get put to sleep, and you've got your nurse there. I think it was the girl Chantel, who was amazing. But even then, you still don't know if it's going to go ahead. No. So even though you're at the doors to the theatre, you're still kind of waiting.
What was going through your mind at that time, Jonny? I was
just praying. I wouldn't say I'm a particularly religious guy, but I was praying to someone.
Praying to anyone that was listening?
Yeah, looking at my grandparents, my gran and granddad and stuff, and just anyone that's looking down on me, please make this happen. Because I was finished with him.
You would have been in the knowledge that you were about to close your eyes for potentially the last time?
Yep, 100%. So they're trying to chat to you, the anaesthetist and that, just because they obviously know the situation you're in, take your mind off it. But no, I couldn't really focus on anything else. And then she came through, thumbs up. I thought, here we go. And I've been under the needle loads of times, so I'm used to getting the gas and stuff. So Yeah, and that was it. Closed the eyes and I thought, here we go. Then I woke up. So I was at this, Paula probably keep me around for not remember, I think it was a Friday or Saturday. Friday night, yeah. So I thought I'd be waking up Saturday morning or whatever it was. I didn't wake up till the Monday. So I'm like, what's going on here? But I didn't realise as well. So what they'd done is, they'd done the first part of it, but my body wasn't reacting particularly well. I think it was struggling a wee bit, nothing like life-threatening. Then, so they put me into intensive care, let me sleep, to try and let my body kind of calm down a wee bit and took me down and stitched me up and stuff. So it was a Monday I woke up and Paul had, I think I had a picture there next to me, and Paul had written down the year, your marriage, your son's name, because a lot of time you forget because you've been under that long. But I knew straight away, and I woke up, boom, I knew exactly what was going on. I was like, to the nurses, they kind of woke me up, and straight away I was like, get my phone. But I didn't realise I had a tube down my throat. So I'm trying to speak, and I'm like, you know, yeah, and I was like, what the hell's going on here? Because they gave me morphine, but they gave me fentanyl as well.
Yeah, okay, so
boofed. This stuff, not nice. So I was just all over the place anyway, but I wanted to FaceTime Paula, and it was quite early, I'm sure it was like 6:30 in the morning.
But did you know at this point whether the operation had like been a success, it went through, or?
I was alive, I woke up, so I thought it was positive, yeah. Positive. Great. Kind of against all the odds, really. You know, I had a bit of a challenge to get through that, hence had to put me asleep for a couple of days. But when I woke up, I felt like I was bright as a button. I wanted to speak to Paula, and I managed to speak to her, and obviously she's beyond herself because I'm not spoke for 2 days.
Paula would obviously been aware that you had started the surgery, or they had started the surgery, and then they had to halt it, put you in a coma for a couple of days. Yeah, so she's had my whole family, friends with her a couple of days of thinking... Just waiting for news, basically. Waiting, is he going to come out of it? Is he going to... I mean, being in a coma that long certainly wasn't on my list of things to do, and Paula sent me the pictures of that. I actually told her, I remember saying to her, like, if I ever get put in a coma, if I get that bad, I want photos, which is a bit strange, but seemingly the nurses say it's not strange. A lot of people ask for it. Just want to see. And actually I forgot she'd done that. It wasn't until about 2 months after we were sitting in the house that I was like, I wonder what it would have been like when I was in a coma. She's like, would you want to see? And I'm like, what are you talking about, you know? She showed me, and it took me a while to decide what to see or not. Yeah. I think that's the picture that I've seen. You're just like, you can tell you're in a high dependency unit, and it's just tubes and machines. It's intensive care, so you've got your breathing apparatus, you've got some going to me. Looking at it right now. Yeah, it's mental. But yeah, I mean, when I look at that now, though, that just gives me absolute determination and just to get back to where I want to be. But yeah, but I came round anyway, and it was fine, and it took me a couple of days to come around properly because that fentanyl is madness. In fact, I think Paula actually said to me at one point, just cold so I could get him off it, because I just wasn't making sense. Believe it or not, some of these hallucinations that I thought it was my last day on earth. Really? It was really weird. So my mum came down from Inverness, and my pal James came through and stuff, and I don't know why it was weird. I thought they were coming through to say goodbye kind of stuff, and I was looking in the mirror and I had this kind of grey skull face and all that. It was mental, honestly. Absolutely out my banger. Because I remember FaceTime Paula going, I know what's going on here. And she's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about, you nutter? I was like, I know what's going on here. Me thinking it's my last day and everyone's coming to say goodbye. Mental. And I remember going back, eventually, they got me out of intensive care pretty quick actually, because I was doing really well into high dependency. Then you go back onto the ward. And even a couple of days after that, going on the ward, Chantel was there, who was the nurse. It was great, and she said, I just wasn't myself. I just wouldn't speak. I was glycate, and I was dead edgy about what was going on and stuff. And I remember that night, she said in all her nursing history, she'd never seen anybody come out of surgery that serious and not take painkillers. Because I thought they were trying to kill me with painkillers. Didn't trust anyone at all.
No, so I went through a whole night without painkiller, and she's like, that's just mental. I've never seen that in my life, you know.
I take it you weren't out of the ward yet though, because there would have been obviously a good chance of your body would have started rejecting this foreign organ that was now in your body. Absolutely. Does your autoimmune disease, does that heighten that chance? 100%. 100%. So, I mean, they all thought I'd been in for quite a ride after it as well. So it's not a case of liver transplant and boom, that's you. However, miraculously my body just loved it. Yeah. I remember reading online about people getting transplants and how incredible it was, and within days they were feeling great, and again I was quite blasé about it, but yeah, just everything clicked. I was up having to kind of learn to walk again. The physiotherapists were
came with their wee crutches and all that kind of stuff, and they had me pounding the wars to try and...
Is that just through months of muscle wastage and just not
strength.
moving, basically?
Yeah,
just
absolutely. But I was so determined. I mean, one of the head surgeon guys, they're always about night time because these guys never not stop working. And he was always laughing because you'd see me, everyone else is in their beds, they'd see me pounding up and down the boards. So I was just like, because your legs is horrendous. There's so much fluid in your legs and feet to the point that you can't really stand on your feet because it's like they're going to just burst.
Right, okay.
It's the weirdest thing to explain. But ironically, the more you move, the more it gets rid of it.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I'm just like, well, I'm going for it. I don't care. Up and down the wards, and also they don't let you home until you can manage to walk. Obviously, and one of the tests is getting up 13 steps. I mean, to anybody that's easy, but I remember it was just horrendous. Just the strength. You've got no strength in your legs, and plus the fluid in it, they probably weigh 10 times more than they usually do, and it was crazy. But nothing was stopping me. I was determined to. I was imagining a shower myself, starting to eat again. Because I couldn't eat when I was getting my tube and all that kind of stuff. And
the emotion and relief in that. Did you not find yourself just in tears of that, like tears of joy almost?
I did,
it's
yeah.
Like you've just been reborn.
That didn't probably hit me till later, actually. I mean, I was just in this zone of wanting to get home, and I got home within about 10 days or something, which is really quite quick. But every day you're getting your bloods taken, because you're absolutely right, the rejection is a huge thing in the early stages. It still is up until a good year or so.
Right, okay, so that can still happen?
100%, yeah, 100%. I mean, hence you go back so often. Once you get out, you're actually back in the clinic every week to get bloods taken. And then I was doing really well, actually, so they put me down to fortnightly quite quick. And I'm like every kind of month to 6 weeks now.
Good.
But I'd imagine when I go back tomorrow, it's probably going to be even longer now, which is brilliant. Well, hoping the bloods are okay. But the recovery is kind of surpassed anybody's expectation. I mean, it was just wild, and I think that was, I suppose, down to myself really, just having, nothing's going to stop me, that determination just to get out of this. I mean, I look back at the last 2 or 3 years, and it's hard. I still get quite emotional, and I've managed the last couple of weekends to do some 5Ks, which is incredible. And sometimes when I'm doing it, I've got the tunes on, and but I get emotional.
Yeah,
I'm running,
and
I'm running with a lump in my throat because I'm just thinking about what's happened. But at the same time, that's given me that strength and that push to get on with it. I mean, within about 12 weeks, I've done about a 14-kilometre walk up Conic Hill at Drimmen and stuff.
That's amazing. Great viewpoint as well. Just to think about life and the scenery and the country.
When I got to the top, I just thought, wow, 12 weeks ago I was
on death's door.
I was on death's door. And
can you remember, obviously, Max wasn't allowed to see you in hospital in your kind of final moments before not in your final moments, quite a period before your transplant. Do you remember? Was he allowed to see you, visit you after your transplant?
Yeah, because I could go downstairs and stuff.
Can you remember? I'm just picturing you, just him running up to you, giving you a big hug, and you basically
it was
your son again that you never thought was possible.
You try not to cry in front of your children, ever show weakness in front of your kids, and I still managed to kind of hide it, but hugely emotional. It was just he's I suppose your typical cheesy dad. He's just my kind of little ray of light. Absolutely love him. You've never been so protective of anything in your life when you get a kid. It's hard to explain for people that have not got kids. And I was at 100 miles per hour because when you feel as invigorated again, you felt for years so bad, with fatigue, and despite getting through it and getting through work and everything, when you just all of a sudden feel you've got this energy again for life, energy for everything. I mean, you have to rein it in, and I'm planning. I bought some crazy things when I was in hospital because I was bored. Like, I bought a pizza and all this kind of stuff, and I'm planning. I don't want my food again. I want a pizza. I want a curry. I want to do this. I want to do that. And, and you're planning, we can go on holiday next year with this, and everyone's just like, calm down and stuff.
I know, but you were so close to missing out on never doing any of these things 100%. Again. You just want it all. You want to just experience and life. I take it must have had a big change on your outlook in life and 100%. What's important, like the trivial things that bother society now. They'll not bother you.
No, I'm a fairly back character anyway, but even more so now. I mean, my work I love, and my work throughout this were incredible. My boss David was more like a concerned friend than a boss. He was just no pressure from work. They were incredible. But even at work, anybody knows how much I love my work, but to the point now though, things don't bother me as much at work. You get so busy at work that you wake up through the night thinking, oh shit, I've not done that, or I've not done that, not anymore. Or once a wee man would go to bed, you'd get the laptop open at night and do a couple of hours of work. No, I'm managing that a bit better now, and just the small things just don't bother me as much now. I think when you've become that close for everything's been taken away from you, it really does kind of make you have more different priorities in life. as much as I love my work and I want to be successful and stuff, my family life is hugely important to me. Spending time with my close family, Paula and Max, but my mum, my dad, and my nieces and nephews and stuff, and that. So it really does. It's you read that sometimes and you think, oh, new view in life, you think, oh, it's cheesy, but until you're in that moment, it's nothing, never a truer word really. To put things in context.
No, it just makes you appreciate your health now. And how is it looking? What does your life look like now and for the future? I mean, I take it, I'm presuming that you're medicated every day?
100%, yeah. I mean, a lot less than now though. I mean, prior to the transplant, I could have been on 20 or 30 pills a day. Yeah. Now it's massively come down, which is incredible. So you're on anti-rejection medicine for the rest of your life. Yeah. But that's pretty much it. And you take another small couple of things, anti-rejection and stuff, but it's a lot less than it was. Because I took steroids for so long, because of 20 plus years, it does thin your bones. So I've got a lot of medication for my bones, which I can feel when I go to the gym. Yeah, okay. So I'll try my hardest to kind of keep that at bay for as long as I can. But it's just been incredible. I mean,
what about your previous health ailments? Have they been suppressed now? Are they dealt with?
Yeah, so my stomach is the least of my problems now, which is incredible, considering how much trauma it caused me in my early 20s. That in itself was horrendous. But no, the autoimmune is always going to be there, unfortunately. So there's no doubt I'm going to have challenges in the future, but we'll be well placed to tackle them. There's nothing to suggest that the PAC might not come back, unfortunately. It's a very, very small chance.
Right, okay.
I think it's less than 5%. I'm just trying to keep myself as healthy as possible. I mean, like you say, ironically, I'm probably fitter now. Not muscle-wise, I've still got a bit of muscle mass to put on because I did go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. But cardiovascular-wise, I'm probably a lot fitter than I ever was. Like, I'm doing a lot more running, which I've never done. But I find that, for me, headspace is good.
Yeah, plus it's enjoying that freedom that you've now got to be outside with the fresh air, the wind in your face.
Definitely.
Hopefully the sun shining or whatever else, just being free.
100%, yeah.
You've got the scars to prove your operation. Let's see them on the camera.
See it? Do I need to stand up or can you?
Oh, geez, you can see it, so it's major, eh?
It's like a J for me.
So
another one from my early 20s goes all the way down. So that's when they open me up to take my bowel out, so it goes all the way down there. I've got wee scars across here, so I've got a fairly...
I've got the bowel scars to show what you've been through.
So, the wee man loves them. He can give us some good stories about them and that. But
does he know now? Does he know now how ill you became?
I think so. Yeah. I think so, and stuff like this is great because I'll show him when he's older. And obviously the story that you read, I'll sit down and it's great that I can do it with him. But it's just been phenomenal. I mean, I got to see Max start primary school, which again, it was a really emotional day, which probably wouldn't have been before. But to see him walk in and stuff, and I thought, you're not going to see that at one point. It was incredible. And his birthday was in July, so obviously we got to see that. And Paula's birthday was just at the weekend there, so we got to celebrate that and stuff. So there's all the small things that make such a big difference. But as I say, I was just so determined. I mean, I got back to work literally to the day I was allowed. So it's 3. The consultants don't allow you really to go back 3 months prior because you still get infections and get help. But literally to the day, straight to my boss, I want to come back. It was a phased return, so not full time straight away. And again, just get that, I suppose, normality of your life back again. I got back to the gym pretty early, which probably a bit quicker than they would have liked. Yeah. But again,
desperate they couldn't rein you in.
Not only just because I've lost weight loads through my life, through different illnesses. So I'm always well prepared about what I need to do to get it back on, and I would never want to let this define me. It's been an unbelievable experience, something that you didn't think you'd ever go through in your life. I mean, the highs and lows have been almost undescribable. Yeah. But now when I look back at it in a way of almost kind of positivity that I've got through it, and I can hopefully help others. Yeah. That story that Paula shared online, and somebody reached out from Australia. It was 2 days after the transplant, and I think she was struggling a bit and just said, look, tell your husband thank you so much, because I feel a bit more motivated now to get through this and stuff.
Yeah. So. And even people that are listening to this or watching it who are maybe fighting health problems, but they don't need to be as serious as what yours were. They don't need to be in death's doors to realise that, to hopefully change their perspective in light. But hearing your story and how you've dealt with it, and the life that you're now continuing to live.
Yep.
There's light at the end of the tunnel for people out there.
100%.
What would you say to people out there that are fighting these illnesses? And that can be mental as well. It doesn't need to be a physical illness where their life, for they see it as coming to an end.
Well, it was definitely both for me, mental as well. I'm mentally very, very strong, but this was starting to get for the first time in my life, I was starting to struggle mentally with this, and people could see it towards the end because I wasn't chatting as much. I just wasn't my usual bubbly self. But any advice is just dig deep, try and find that last bit you've got to get through it. Focus on the things that are important in your life, and why you want to get through it to get to the other side and enjoy that. For me, it was always Paula and Max. Our holidays together, seeing him grow up, going through life with Paula, retiring, always want to retire to Spain and have a nice place abroad, which, we want to achieve one day. So having those goals to keep focused on is difficult. There's days where I thought I just can't do this anymore. I've just got nothing left. But people are there to pick up as well and try and be open. I mean, throughout this, I've probably been more open with Paula than I've ever been in my life. She's seen a real side to me that she probably hadn't seen before, of weakness.
This must have brought you so much closer to each other as well, no matter how close you were before. This is obviously 100%. That bond even stronger. 100%
more stronger than we'll ever been in hour so much. It's hard to kind of quantify that. I mean, how do you pay somebody back for that? Gifts, great, but but hopefully one day I can do the same for her. But hopefully it won't come to as bad as the experience we had. But it's 100% made us stronger. But be open with people as well. That's my advice. Is it can be quite lonely when you're ill, and you want to. There's a pride thing as well where you want to try and hide it. I'm okay today. Well, you're not really. You're really crumbling inside. So it's relying on people the closest to you and speak to them and be open, because these people will help you. But you'll find a way.
How are you dealing mentally with it now? I know you're saying that you're mentally strong, but obviously it's probably, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe the dust is just kind of settling now, 6 months on. Maybe it's time where the reflections start coming in, or wee flashbacks. And just... It's
a good question, and the flashbacks absolutely is. I still say mentally I'm absolutely fine with it.
Are you just saying that?
No, I struggled more before it. So something I've done in my life before actually was I phoned one of the PSE helplines and I spoke to somebody who'd been through that journey and come out the other end, which I'd never done before in my life. I never usually do that, and it was great actually. I find myself stronger after it. I don't know why, maybe because I've got through it and I'm more focused about all the exciting times now. But you're 100% right, there are times where all those feelings come back at one time and they do hit you. And you do think, whoa, shit, what the hell's just happened? Coming that close and losing your wife and your son and stuff. But I suppose as time goes on, that'll maybe go away. But for me, it's much more of a positive picture now. I can see how it'd be quite easy to get into a trap of overthinking about it too much and, oh my God, what just happened? But at 41 or whatever age you've got, your whole life's ahead of you.
You've still got so much more life.
And I just want to be there for Paul and Max and enjoy our life and live it as best we can. And I'm under no illusion that there's going to be challenges in the future. A lot of people end up having to get a second transplant. But there's also people that don't have to get a second transplant. So, but there's no point in thinking about that. There's no point in thinking it might come back or that. You just need to enjoy every day and get on with it as best you can. And everybody's different. Some people might let it define them. I won't let it define me, that's for sure. It's onwards and upwards, and whether it be work or personal life. And if it does happen again, we'll be well prepared for it. And thankfully, I don't think they'll let you get as ill before. I think they can, find out pretty early if you're getting rejection and stuff. But as time goes on, those chances get slimmer. And I'm 6 months today, and as I say, I'm probably feeling physically better than I have done, because I don't remember not being well. I really don't.
Really? You don't remember?
No. Don't remember. I mean, there's times you feel fine and you're going to the gym and work and all that, but see, when I think about it, for years, you're running on half fumes. You're running 50% and even less when you're ill, and you'll have the odd occasion you get a wee bit above that, but so many years I was just running. I don't know how I managed to do it, actually, just getting on with it.
Just surviving, basically.
And now you've just got this zest for life, and you just want to get on with it. And now I'm allowed to go back and enjoy myself. I did my first couple of pints the other week, which I was allowed.
Could be new liver to test.
Absolutely, I won't be doing a George Best. I won't be going for a second. But you're allowed to drink after 3 months if you want, responsibly kind of thing. But I actually waited a while. I just wasn't ready. I don't know why. I had this thing. I just wasn't ready. But I said to the coordinators last time, I had a couple of beers and they were laughing. They're like, good on you,
Yeah, quite right. You deserve it.
So life doesn't stop. You can't not go out and enjoy having a glass of wine with your dinner or something and what have you. But lives have changed. The last 2 Sundays have been a 5k, whereas maybe prior to that, the last Sundays would give you wake up maybe after a slight hangover from being out.
So is that going to be part of things what's going to come? Are you going to put your body to the test now? You're feeling healthier
100%.
and fitter?
Yeah, but I mean, Paula and I have always been fit people. Paula's really into CrossFit, and you know, I think one of your previous interviews, she's done CrossFit with, and she's puts me to shame, you know, with her CrossFit. She's incredible, the strength she's got, the weights, and she's tiny as well. So for me, I need to try and get back up so she's not embarrassing me. But yeah, no, 100%, actually, especially with the running. I mean, that's something I've never really enjoyed.
Just a newfound passion.
But when it comes to the weekend, I'm thinking, right, I need to try and get a bit further this time. So like next Sunday, I'm going to try maybe do 6k, and who knows, I might try and go get more and more. So I love hill walking as well. So you know, getting out to do a slightly bigger hill every. They
just keep pushing yourself. It's so good for the head as well. You know, getting out there and front air and getting to see the.
We're going to go and climb Ben Nevis next summer. We're going to do a fundraiser for PSC. Perfect. So we're going to get a group of us to go and do that. I've done that once. It was tough going even back then. So it'd be interesting to see how I get on this time round. But no, things are starting to, you know, physically kind of click back into well, I've got a wee bit to kind of build up, but I've never a big guy anyway, so I'm not overly fussed. I'm fitting back into all my clothes again, which is good, because all these wee day-to-day things, when you get that ill, you have to change your wardrobe because you lose weight and stuff. Is crazy.
Everything's falling off.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been incredible, and it's been challenging, and it's something that I didn't think I'd have to go through in my life, and I wouldn't wish it my worst enemy. But you know, whether it be liver disease or any kind of illness, you know, just keep focused, keep determined. You know, keep looking at the goals that are going to get you through it, and you'll get there eventually. You know, if everybody's there for you.
Perfect. Jonny, thanks very much. I mean, obviously the theme of the podcast is about resilience, and I don't know if I like that word so much. I know I picked it, but to be kind of resilience needs to come from having suffered something, whether it be through illness, trauma, abuse or anything like we've touched on before. But you certainly have suffered to the point where you were on death's door, but to bounce back the way you have, obviously the courage and determination, the strength that you've shown. Granted, you needed the transplant, or none of that would have mattered. But the kind of outlook on life now, and the way that you're choosing to live your life, and the new perspectives that it's now given you, it needs to be commended, and people will certainly gain a lot of positivity from listening to your story, and hopefully people out there that are maybe ill as well, we can share the podcast through the charity that you mentioned there as well for fellow sufferers, and we can see that there's light at the end of the tunnel if you can just kind of keep going strong and keep the positivity going. So thank you. Thanks very much for joining us.
Not at all.
Nice
thank
to
you.
Speak to you. Cheers.